Hello, this is Anthony Mwerore, and we are at Book Place talking about a book. This is Book Talk at Book Place, and today is a very interesting day. It's a great day. We have an interesting guest. His name is Russell Vann, and I'm going to introduce him. He has a wonderful story and a good series of books that I know you're gonna love. It's called Ghetto Bastards. Oh, what a name. Russell, please welcome to our show.
Thank you, Anthony. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yes, and we are very interested to hear what is all about Ghetto Bastards. I mean, how does that come to be?
Well, uh, we all know what a ghetto is, right?
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe
Yes.
I,
Well,
I come. I come from a village in Africa, and sometimes I find it that some people may not get the clear picture of what a village in Africa is. So at some point, they
absolutely right. So I'm going to say an American ghetto,
okay, let's hear how an American ghetto is like.
right? So an American ghetto is an impoverished area,
Yeah.
um, usually by a certain set of minorities, but not necessarily minorities. They can also be Caucasian, non-minorities also, but it's poor people in a designated area, in a condensed area. And now you're not gonna tell me you don't know what a bastard is, right? We all know what a bastard is. The world knows what a bastard is.
Let's
Right?
let's think is what
Okay.
it is. Okay.
So my mother and father were not married. I was the product of teenage pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
And both parents discarded me,
Mm-hmm.
and both their parents discarded me. So
Ah,
I was raised by my grandfather's mother
okay.
in the ghetto
Mm-hmm.
without a father.
Yeah.
So this book is the memoirs of me coming of age and learning how to become a man with the trappings of the ghetto, the American ghettos, with the drugs, the violence, the disease, things like that. Very good read.
I believe this is gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
you're
here's the cover. I just wanted you to see
Oh,
what it
yeah.
looks like
Let's
too.
also Get a Bastard. That's the book we're going to be discussing about.
Yeah.
And it's a series, yeah. So that's
Here's a series. So you have
book
two.
number one. Yeah. Oh, that's the second one. So
That's
Get
the
a
Ghetto
Bastard
Bastard 2.
two.
And then the third one brings it all together.
Okay.
That's Ghetto Bastard 3, Life After Death. Now you're gonna ask me, well, why is the life after death? And I'm
Yeah.
gonna say you don't have to read the book to find out about that. And then I'm currently writing Ghetto Bastard 4, The
Okay.
American Dream.
Mm-hmm. Now this series is okay. I believe as you've told us, and you have. I mean, we got the picture that the stories that are in this book are based upon your life story, but it's kind of fiction, isn't it? Or you are accounting every detail with what happened. Please tell us.
No fiction.
Yeah.
I'm accounting every detail
Okay.
because I can kind of say it's almost a post PTSD
Mhm.
because a lot of things that have happened in my life are traumatic and you don't forget about them.
Mhm.
They also are used as learning devices to get through life. But
Okay.
nothing is fiction. All of these are my memoirs, what's going on, what has happened in my life, my transition from the ghetto, from the Mott Haven section of the Bronx, a
Mhm.
drug infested, poverty stricken area,
Yeah.
how most of the people of my color
Mhm.
up from that area either end up in jail, are dead,
Yeah.
are an addict,
Okay.
and this is a story of how I evaded all of those things. It's a story about what it does is humanize people from the American ghetto. A
Okay.
lot of times people see movies and they read books about uh, Black people from the ghetto
Mhm.
in all ghettos in America, not just the ghetto. I'm from the Bronx ghetto, but there's ghettos all over America.
Yeah.
And they make it seem like we're just a monolithic group of people
Mhm.
where we're all getting pregnant early. You know, the women are all teenage mothers.
Mhm.
The guys are all selling drugs, beating on their women, going to jail. You know, there's more than just that.
Yeah, I
And
think what we've had most is based on these gangster rappers and things like that.
right, that
That's
imagery,
the picture.
that
That's
narrative is not right. That's not correct. This
okay.
book takes it away from there. Now, we would be naive to say I'm going to write a book about the American ghetto, and there's not going to be aspects of that element of the violence and the drugs and the women.
Okay.
But the difference is
Yeah.
that there's not a glorification of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a glamorizing. It's a real. You know,
Okay.
people ain't dying every day. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
when you read these books and you look at these movies, people get shot. 20 people die in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
20 people die in the book. In
Yeah.
real life, one person died, a whole lot of people going to jail.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So this book talks about the real life struggles, you know, families, people growing up, people that have dreams, ambitions, not as, you know, they want to live this. Everybody thinks when you read these books and you see the narrative that um, the American Black people want to live this ghetto gangster life, and
Okay.
that's not true.
Okay. So give us a better introduction of how you found life when you landed in Bronx. That's where you were born, and the basics. I mean, going to school, the early age, and the experiences that you've had.
Well, you know, my book is gonna tell a lot of it, but I'm gonna go and I'm gonna keep you
Okay,
on
okay. Don't give it out. Don't give it all out.
no, I'm not gonna give you all. I'm gonna tell you how me growing up, I didn't know who my mother or father or anybody was.
Mhm.
I was with strangers.
That's not an easy thing to be
Right.
born into this.
I was with abusive strangers.
Mhm.
But I thought they were my family because when you're a child, you're talking about 2, 3 years of age. You don't know who anyone is. Now,
Exactly.
if you don't have that time with your mother, which is mother and father, which is a basic family bonding time. That's a time that you really start to have that security that really develops that child in a, you know, in a security. I didn't get that. So I was with strangers. Then at a point, I was living with they were abusive strangers, so I was abused as a child. I
Yeah.
have a scar, and that's probably why I wear my sunglasses too. I have a scar on my eye from when I was like 2, 3 years old from being abused, a
Mhm.
scar. And then I end up living with my great grandmother
Okay.
because I guess I was getting tossed around as a child, and
Mhm.
you know, nobody wanted to take me and nobody wanted to have the responsibility. And so I was just, you know, you tossed aside. And you know what happens when you toss aside, especially with a child, there's no nurturing, there's no love. So
Yeah.
the child is just self-soothing.
Mhm.
So then I ended up with my great grandmother,
Yeah.
and when she took me in,
Mhm.
which is amazing because she was about 60
Okay.
and taking care of her elderly mother
Mhm.
at the time. And I
Yeah.
think I was 4 years old when I went to live with her.
Mhm.
And then she took me in, and I started to get some love and structure. At
Okay.
she sent me to Catholic school.
Mhm.
I went there for a little while. Um, but what was happening, you know, looking back, I was acting out.
Yeah.
I was acting out from all of the things that had happened to me
Mhm.
before I got to my grandmother's.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm always fighting because all my life I was always fighting.
Yeah.
When
I
I was with
understand.
these people I was with, I was fighting. I was
Mhm.
fighting something. I was fighting the kids. I was being beat by the people. I was, you know. So um, I went from public school to Catholic school. So then eventually,
Mhm.
my great grandmother, I was always getting into fights
Yeah.
from say age. I went with her from the first grade to the fourth grade, I was always getting in the fight. She always had to come to school. You know,
Mhm.
I would do crazy stuff, throw a desk across the room, something crazy, whatever. You know what I mean? If somebody, it was always a fight mode,
Yeah.
fight mode with me. So
Yeah.
she ended up sending me to boarding school. And I went to boarding school for a little while, and it was she was a waitress.
Mhm.
So it was a big sacrifice for her at the time. And I
Mhm.
went there, of course, you know, it's all boys and you know how that works, alpha male, you know.
Mhm. Mhm.
So there was a lot of battle in it. And when I went in, I was only 10
Okay.
and there were boys 14.
Mhm.
So I had to do battle with them too. And it was run by Catholic nuns too. And, you know, they were a little uptight, you know. and I had to do battle in there too, but battled for respect, you know, won some, lost some, you know what I mean? But as you got older, you won a little bit more, you know. Then I graduated out of that place, came back to the South Bronx,
Okay.
and went to Cardinal Hayes High School. I don't know if you ever heard of that.
I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, ended up having to leave there,
Okay.
which it was a great school, structure, great basketball teams, all of the stuff that I wasn't used to previous,
Okay.
you know, just more. And then I had to leave the school
Okay.
for economic reasons.
Then
Then I had to go right to public school.
Okay.
Totally different from private school.
Yeah.
And in public school was everybody from the project, all the poor people, all the gang members, everybody going into one box. You know what I mean?
And I understand how it is to come from a higher place and come down and
boom, right down to the
experience some things you've never had experienced before.
But you know what? What's so crazy? Having kids now, I can understand. My grandmother couldn't afford it, so I understood why my great grandmother couldn't afford it. But I see now, even as more neglectful that my parents were and my grandparents were, because they were sitting there allowing me to go into these places, knowing, you know, hey, he's used to this. Now we're gonna throw him to the wolves. And if you ever go to private school and then you go right to public school right in the middle of the South Bronx, okay, it's a whole different. It's a whole different, jungle.
I can imagine. Yeah.
And I end up having to drop out of there because some dudes wanted to kill me. Because getting into knuckleball with some gang members.
Yeah.
And eventually that led to me dropping out of there. I got into a job training program.
Okay.
It had those programs, and I learned a skill how to. At that time, it was putting in windows and stuff.
Okay.
And I did that for a little while, and blew that deal, being stupid, like being young, blew that.
There were all kinds of
Yeah, ended up getting caught up with a couple of underworld people.
Okay. Oh.
Got out of that real quick. Now, what I want to mention through all of this, because remember how I told you a lot of narratives about the American poor people or American ghetto is that we're just one monolithic group of people. And what I'm going to say is that we're multifaceted. So part of this journey, that everything that I'm telling you is, there's a love story there. Because I've been with my wife since I was 15.
Okay.
In a relationship with her, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And she's from the ghetto too.
Okay.
But she's actually totally opposite from my upbringing.
Okay.
She was raised by two working parents her whole life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she was raised in the ghetto. So here we are, coming from the same place, but same different backgrounds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So part of my books also speaks about this love story, speaks about this journey, because here is a woman who was raised in love with two parents. Because nobody, if you don't have that, no one will ever be able to describe to you the love of two parents, being in between two parents when you're a child, in between the bed or something like that. See, I don't know that kind of stuff. I don't know that kind of love, but that forms you as an adult. That forms your relationships and your bonds and how you get close to people. Now, she knew that.
Yeah.
She knew that love. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
All I knew was what I saw.
Yeah.
And what I saw was people in, superficial relationships.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Multiple partners. So that's what I was looking at. And like, they would always break up. There was nobody in long-term relationships. The older people that I knew in my life, my great-grandmother's people, they were together like 30, 40, 50 years and stuff like that. They had that family bond. But as far as if you look at my mother, or you look at my father, or my grandmother, my grandfather, they was just with people in different type of relationships. So looking at them growing up, is what I learned how to love or how to
That's what you
bond, how to
know.
be in a relationship.
Those are the experiences that you went through.
Right, absolutely.
And may God bless your grandmother and great grandmother for
Great
standing
grandmother.
by, yeah, for standing by you and bringing you up until you went through school. And
Mhm.
all the grandmothers are good people. They are wonderful people. May God bless them. Those people who step in when the parents are not there for their children. And I believe that you've got a special part for her in your heart. That's what I believe. Great grandmother, especially.
Yeah, I do. I mean,
Yeah.
she,
Mhm.
and as I grow older, and my children are grown now, but as I grow
Mhm.
older and I have a grandchild, so I understand even more the sacrifice
Yeah.
that she made. You know, and I think we all do that just as parents in general. But then I'm saying as a
Mhm.
this was a woman, this was her great grandchild. You
Yeah.
know, at that age, that's at 60, and taking care of your elderly mother who was probably in her 90s and stuff like that. And we know what that entails, taking care, and you bringing in a child. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So as I become older, I just appreciate it more. And then I look back and say, wow, you know, it makes me, or it's made me a better parent. I think it makes me a good grandparent.
Yeah. And the experiences, you tell us of how you were finding yourself in bad path and then correcting the path that you're taking several points in your life. Like you been involved in the underworld and then you got out of it. How was that happening? I mean, was it something
Um,
out of the blue?
no, it wasn't out. Well, it was out of necessity,
Mm-hmm.
actually. Um, in my book, it's gonna tell you about that. Did I show you that book already? Did I show
Yes,
you
please,
that?
let
I show
me,
you
but it's good to see it a
already?
second time to remember.
Okay, but actually, how I kind of got into it, and the way I was in it was so very minuscule. It was nothing big, but you know, if you get caught and you go to jail, they don't care how minuscule you are. You still going to jail, right? If
Mm-hmm.
you get caught or anything like that. But my father was involved in dope. My uncle was involved in dope and cocaine. So
Mm-hmm.
these are the images and the things that I saw. So to me, it was okay, and I was emulating them. I wanted to be like them.
Yeah, I
You know,
understand. We are always looking for those who are close
these
to.
are my male role models.
Yeah, I
You
get.
understand? You have to understand too. Also, these are also people who have had multiple women.
Mm-hmm.
Their relationships aren't, sustainable.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at all of that, and that's who I'm admiring. That's the only male image. I mean, any male child, when he's young and he's growing up, is going to be attracted to any male image around him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Whether it's
Yeah.
right, good, bad, or indifferent. That's your impressionable ages.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked at that, and that's how I would look at, uh, what they would call the game.
Yeah.
So I would see how my father was, and he had all this nice jewelry, and he had pretty women, and he had nice cars. You
Mm-hmm.
know, he was always nicely dressed. And, hey, you're young and impressionable. This is your father. And I mean, I didn't meet my father until I was 10 years old,
Mm-hmm.
first time. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So this is impressionable. You're like, oh wow, you know what I mean? You want to be like that. My uncle, he was a cocaine dealer, big time coke dealer in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then when he would come to New York and visit my great grandmother, which was his grandmother,
Yeah.
he was always dressed nice. He had a pretty woman on his arm. He had money in his pocket. He might slip you $5 or $20. To me as a child, that's big time. That's big stuff.
Yeah.
That's so impressionable. I want to be like that.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime opportunities came up that, I might be able to indulge, just kind of make some money,
Yeah.
I would see other people doing it because I'm in the ghetto. All you had to do is throw a rock. You can find drugs. Throw a rock. You can find somebody that's going to sell some drugs. You know what I mean? Throw a rock. You're going to find somebody who's going to buy some drugs. So that was very easy. The whole point is not getting caught going to jail. You know what I mean? That's the whole game thing. So I got involved a little bit with the crack game.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Okay. But was miserable at that because one, I didn't know how to cook it really. You know what I'm saying? I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know how to cook it, and I didn't have a supplier. So then you got to go through other people to get a supply
Yeah.
and to cook it. And of course, people who cooking it is crackheads, so they smoking it as they're cooking it. So there goes the money.
Yeah.
And then the people you go in to get the supply from, they know you really don't know about this stuff. And drugs, the criminal element is a dirty game. So everybody's gonna rob you. So if you give that man $200, he probably gonna buy you $150 worth of whatever, and keep 50 in his pocket and come bring you the stuff. You don't know the difference. You know what I mean?
I understand.
So, right. So I was kind of like that in the game. You know what I mean? And then how
Yeah.
I got to that was one night we bagged up a whole bunch of, can I say crack and all that stuff? Right
Yeah.
okay. We bagged up a bunch of crack, bottled it and all that. We had this crackhead cooking for us, right? Went to this guy took us to this other guy's house. He cooked up the stuff, he bottled it all up. Now, my partner, a friend of mine, he's in this book too. He was carrying it. So he put it in his pocket and we were leaving and we left the building and we was walking down the street to go to where we would sell it. And all of a sudden we just hear, don't move or I'll blow your fucking head off. Excuse my language, but I like that. And yeah, but watch out there. Okay, but that's what he said, you know. And of course we didn't move. Put your hands up, get against the wall, and got against the wall, and then the cops start going through my pocket. They were undercover. So I guess they saw us come from the store or something. I don't know what was it. But what happened now was they were looking for other people. They were looking for these guys who were robbing people. They were robbing cab drivers. And me and my friend, of course, we fit the description. 2 black guys, blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
So when they got us, they patted us down. I didn't have anything on me. You know, he just had the gun to my head, told me he's gonna blow my head off, you know. And then he said, okay, you got anything on you like your friend over there? So I said, no. So then I hear him talking to my friend. He pats him down. He takes everything out of his pockets and stuff like that, which was a good amount. He could have went. And then he said, today's your lucky day.
Okay.
He says, all you're going to have to do is start over. And he takes my friend and he walks him down to the sewer and he has him throw everything in the sewer.
Okay.
And then they let us go.
Wow.
And right there, I said, that's enough. That's it.
So that was your turning point.
Bam. Let's go. That's it, dude.
Just like that.
And we wasn't even really making any money. We was just starting out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I just told you that story there. But there was a lot of little other stuff in between.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So when that happened, it was kind of like, man, this is just a dirty business.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You have to be, you know, your moral integrity has to be zero to be in this game. You know what I'm saying? And I was raised by a woman that instilled some moral integrity in me.
I understand.
So I'm not going to be able to do this, you know, and I'm the type of person with anything, even writing these books, if I'm all in, I'm all in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if I'm going to go out there and be a drug dealer, I'm going to be the best drug dealer.
Okay.
If I'm going to be a gangster, I'm going to be the best gangster. Okay. But in order to do that, you're going to have to kill people. Yes. You're going to have to go to jail. You're going to have to be, you know, people going to have to try to kill you. You understand what I mean? I don't need to live that life.
I see how this story is interesting, and getting the picture of someone changing a life out of a forgiving act. I mean, because the others, and I mean, other experiences that I've heard from people are they went to a point of no return, and then that's when they made their own mind that they're going to change. But it was a forgiving cop that made you realize that you're on the wrong path and decide to change. That's interesting.
I don't know if he was so much forgiving as maybe it was the end of his shift. and it was 4 cops. It wasn't one.
4 cops. Yeah.
Yeah, they jumped. They were undercover. They weren't in uniform.
That makes them makes it even more interesting. I mean,
right? They jumped out the car. They were detectives.
Yeah.
So they jumped out the car. You know what I mean? So I didn't think. Yes, it was a forgiving gesture.
Yeah.
We want to look at it that way. But that gun to the back of my head telling me they was gonna blow my brains out. Listen, I don't know how forgiving it was at that time. You understand what I mean? Yeah. And like I said, You don't know. It could have been the end of the shift. Now you got two guys, you got all this crack. Now you got to bring them in. You got to book them. You got to do the paperwork. You got to book the evidence. They ready to go home. You know what I mean? This ain't even the guys that they looking for. You understand what I mean? So you
Yeah.
can look at it with that ever too, right? You understand what I mean?
Mhm. I get you. I get you. So at this point, you're confronted by four cops that get some stuff from you and throw
Not
you.
for me. I didn't have none. I wasn't carrying nothing. Remember?
Okay.
He was, right?
Let's say whoever is in the company of a wrongdoer.
Yeah, they could have got me for that, but you know, that was a real story.
Yeah.
That would have been my defense. I ain't had nothing on me. No, but yeah.
Okay. So, what steps did you choose to take from that point onward?
Well, the whole reason that I was doing it in the first place was that I had gotten laid off from my job.
Okay.
I needed money.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to look for some work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I ended up getting employment. I was only doing that because I had nothing.
Mm-hmm.
No money, no nothing.
Yeah.
I was still with my grandmother, my great grandmother. You
Okay.
know what I mean? And I'm thinking like 18, 19 at the time.
Okay.
You know what I mean? What kind of 18, 19? You know, you're living with your great grandmother, you know, asking her for money, you know, for things and stuff like that. So, you know, I've always been the type of guy, I like to work.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I work a job. I like doing overtime. I like working. I like making money. But that was like out of necessity. Anytime I indulged in any type of illegal activity such as that,
Okay.
it was out of necessity. It wasn't out of glory or grandeur. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was only acceptable to me
Mm-hmm.
because I saw members of my family when I was growing up doing it.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't such taboo.
So you say if they are doing it, then it might be something good. So I am gonna do it also. I mean,
Not that it was something good, but there was nothing bad
something
about it.
acceptable. I get.
Like nobody's looking at you saying, you know, you selling that stuff. You know what I mean? Nobody
Yeah.
was like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, anytime it was out of necessity, but I've always worked and I like working. I have no problem working. So
Okay.
if there's an opportunity to work and make money and earn money, I had no problem with that. That was out of necessity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you had to find a job and get a source of living. Then you get life moving. How easy was that, or how hard was it to get back on track and keep on moving?
Well, I've always been a hard worker.
Yeah, as you say,
Yes,
I mean,
I've always had jobs.
yeah.
You know, I mean, my first job was at Fordham University as a dishwasher.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it wasn't hard as an adjustment to
Yeah.
working.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I think what happens, and I was still young too.
Yeah.
You know, about 19, 20 and stuff like that. You want to be paid what you feel you're valued.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of jobs out there,
Mm-hmm.
but I think at that time I wanted a job that I was valued. You know, I was doing like security guard work. They was paying like minimum wage, and I think minimum wage might have been like $3.35 or $5 an hour back then.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not enough to earn a living off of.
Around what year are we talking about?
Say again?
Around what year are we talking about?
1985, 86, 87.
That's a long time ago.
Oh, yes, it is.
Yeah. And it's good to see that you're still living and you don't look that old even at that.
Thank you. 53, and my birthday was yesterday. I just celebrated my
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Celebrating what year?
53.
53.
53.
Yeah, glory to God.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so happy birthday. And I wish you many more. And I wish that many people are going to benefit from the story they are going to read from your books and draw some lessons from it and live by them. And this could be the reason that you wrote the books, or what drove you, what inspired you to put those into writing, those experiences?
Well, first, therapy.
Okay.
because you just think now, you and I have only been talking, maybe for about 20, 30 minutes, you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
I told you a lot of things. That's not even half, not even a smidgen of the things that are in the book about life,
Okay.
but just the beginnings of what I was telling you,
Okay.
about my life, being abusive and things like that.
Mhm.
All of that at some point comes to a head.
Yeah.
So and you just a lot of anger, and like I said, I always fighting and always, that was my life, man. Always fighting, something
Mhm.
going on.
Mhm.
So at a point, I sought therapy,
Okay.
and after I told him the story, I
Mhm.
told him the whole story. He
Mhm.
was like, "You should write a book," and
Oh,
I was like, "Wow, okay." Now he and I ended up bad,
okay.
no, because he did something bad. Because
Mhm.
sometimes professionals aren't always professionals.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I was with the guy for about a year, and he must have said 1,000 things to me, but I only remember him saying, "You should write a book."
Okay.
And I started writing the book.
Okay.
And as I started writing it, you kind of like, you start remembering things and you bring it all out. And then I would let my wife read it. Now, remember, my wife been with me since I was 15 years old.
Mhm.
So she knows most of the stories.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But even she was intrigued by the book.
Yeah.
So I said, "Oh, okay, we might have something here." You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
kept writing, and then once you start getting to the flow of things, next thing you know, I got 3 books out, and then I have my ideas for book 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's gonna end at 6 books, but that's
Yeah.
kind of what inspired me
I,
to start.
I get you, and it's good that you started some 8 years back. I just released my first book about 3 months ago, and
Mhm.
people are reading it and they are saying, "Hey, why is book two? Why is book? We are waiting for book two." Now, the interesting thing is something that you mentioned that your wife is intrigued from reading some of the stories that you're giving for. That's how interesting it is. When I
Mhm.
wrote my book and I gave someone to read the manuscript, and he's coming me and telling me stories, I'm kind of, are those stories that I shared?
Right, right, right.
I mean, it becomes interesting once you start writing. And for you, you say it was kind of therapeutic. A therapy, something of that.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely, absolutely.
And it has been good all through. I mean, it keeps you writing and writing and getting some inspiration, some
Well,
motivation.
you know what happens is, remember, I'm 53 now.
Yeah.
So I look at a lot of things in hindsight when I'm writing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I was 20, I wouldn't have been able to write this. When I was 30, I wouldn't have been able to write it.
Yeah.
But my age now, I can look back with wisdom
Mm-hmm.
and understand what I was thinking,
Yeah.
why I did the things that I did, why I was thinking the way that I was thinking. But
Mm-hmm.
now, a lot of times when it's happening, you don't understand what's going on. you
Mm-hmm.
know, but
Mm-hmm.
you might look at something, even in relationships, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You'll look back if you broke up in a relationship or whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
you might be like, okay, I could have done this differently. I
Yeah.
could have done that differently.
Mm-hmm.
Even in an argument, maybe I didn't have to say this, I didn't have to say that. So time, age, wisdom, all those things make a difference and contribute, to the factors.
So can we agree that age is a big aspect of how you perceive life to be, and you gain
Because
more?
you got a lot of old dummies.
Yeah.
So let's be real. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And I heard someone say one time, people don't change, they just grow old.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So
Yeah.
now there's a lot of young wise people, and young wise people, what they do is they learn from their mistakes.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
We all make mistakes. Now, if we turn around and say that we don't, we're lying.
All of us
So
make
as
mistakes.
young people, we all learn from our mistakes. Now, which was great about the book, when we have guidance, a mother and father and nurturing love and all that stuff, we tend to make less mistakes in life.
Mm-hmm.
And when you don't, you're going to make more because your mistakes are made trial and error.
Yeah.
But inevitably, it all comes around to if you're the type of person who learns from your mistakes or if you repeat them.
And that's important.
Now, if you learn from your mistakes, you're going to grow wise, and you're going to make better decisions, and your life is going to change, and different things are going to go in your life, and you have children, and you're going to, you're going to relay that. You're going to spread that to your children and your kin.
Yeah.
And if you don't, if you're a dummy, and you don't make wise decisions, and you keep making the same mistakes, and you keep continuing the same behavior, guess what? You're not going to move. You're going to stay the same way. And guess what? When you have kids, you're going to teach them to be the same way. And they're going to teach their kids, and they're going to teach their kids. And guess what? You know what I just described to you? The American ghetto.
Okay. I get it. So that's how a ghetto that was there in the 50s, 40s, back then, is still a ghetto today because it's been repeated over and over.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But there is a difference.
Yes. Which is?
The so-called ghetto in the 30s, 40s, and 50s were family ghettos.
Yeah.
There were still two-parent households. Okay, still poor, still poverty.
Yeah.
The 1960s is when certain policies came into effect, which allowed women to not need men.
Yeah.
Welfare system, etc. And then you started having a lot more out of wedlock births.
Okay.
A lot more ghetto bastards being born, should I say. I was a part of that.
Yeah.
So that's when the welfare system sprang up, and it was beneficial for women to have babies.
Yeah.
So you had these women out here having 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kids and no husband. No family structure.
Yeah.
And they're showing them how to beat the system, how to get free money. Everything that I'm saying about not making wise decisions. This is what happens.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. And you say that one of the reasons that you wrote the book was for it being therapeutic for you. I mean, and that not only being the case, because if you are writing for only that purpose, you would keep it to yourself. But now it's out there in the public. What is your main reason for putting it forth to us so that we may read? What could we get from the book? I mean, what's the picture that you want to portray and the lessons you want us to draw from it?
Well, the picture that I want to project is that life is not easy.
Yeah.
It's a struggle, but you never give up. The book has one, I wanted to humanize also people from the ghetto, because a lot of ghetto bastards were just statistics. You don't know about it. You hear about it, people getting shot and killed in the ghetto all the time. Just go to New York City and turn the news on, okay? Those are statistics.
Yeah.
It's said that the death of one person is a tragedy. The death of a mass number of people is a statistic. And that's true. You understand? Yeah. So I wanted to put a face on the people that are the statistic. The people. I had a cousin that when he was 13, he was killed.
Yeah.
He was a statistic. You understand? So I wanted to he was a ghetto bastard too. You know what I mean? So I wanted to put a face on the unforgotten people, should I say. Because in the 1950s and the 1940s, the out of wedlock birth rate was 20%. Do you know what it is now for minorities, for Black people, the American ghetto? It's 70%.
Oh, that's high.
Look at statistics. You can look those up. That's true.
Yeah.
You got 70% of people born in the ghetto who have no father, who have no structure, who do not learn how to love, how to become structured, members of society. You know what I mean? They learn the ghetto, and it's a continuing cycle.
We get it. And this book could be a hope to some of them that are getting lost once they read it and they get to see the light. I mean,
But I think what the book too, I wanted two reasons. That's one also to show, hey, listen, I come from where you come from. I didn't have a mother. I didn't have a father. I didn't have grandparents. I didn't have this. I was abused, blah, blah, blah. But then I also wanted to be a book that non-minorities can read and look at minorities differently.
Now, let's get another picture of you now out of the ghetto and you're writing. Apart from writing, what other things could you be doing that could be of interest to us, maybe?
Well, right now, we're also trying to get a screenplay done of the book. Writing book 4.
Yeah.
And doing a lot of interviews, also trying to promote the book, get the word out there, getting people reading about the book. Okay. Spend a lot of family time. So all of those things incorporated, man, it takes a lot of mind time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So where you stand now, I mean, because okay, I don't know, maybe the book is bringing in something substantial that is keeping you going, but many of the authors that I've met, before they hit that high note, they have got to sustain a family. And do you have kids, by the way? If I didn't.
Right.
You have a wife? Do you have kids?
I remember what I told you before. I've always worked.
Yeah.
I always worked because, you know, what do they say? Hope for the best, plan for the worst.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've always had a job, and I always keep a job. I worked for the state. I work for the county.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I have pension.
Yeah.
So I have income coming in. So this is kind of gravy, the books, in a sense. You know what I mean? Yeah. But you know, I'm still young, and a lot of the things, you know, glory be to God, of course. A lot of the things that I already have. I have a nice home. I have property. You know, I've raised my family already. A lot of things that I already have, people are working on. People are trying to get.
Yeah, yeah. And
so I'm kind of on a different level now. But see, all these things that I have now, I worked hard for. You know what I mean? I worked hard over. So I know hard work prevails in the long run. I know that. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of been a hobby. But then I started going on a little book tour. Yeah. And people were buying the books. Ah, that's good. And the people that were buying the books were not minorities. Okay. And you would think because of the title, because a lot of times, I don't know, did I show you this book already, Ghetto Bastard? Yeah. Oh, okay. But a lot of times people will see that title and automatically assume it's a certain narrative. Okay. And then they start to read it. Because let me tell you, once you read the first 2 pages, you're hooked. You're not going to put it down. And where can we find it? You can find it on Amazon. Yeah. You know, Russell Vann, just look me up. You can go to ghettobastard.com, and that's my website. And I got a little blog going on there. Yeah. It'll direct you. And if you go to ghettobastard.com, on the first page, there's a picture, there's a video. Yeah. And it's actually a Caucasian lady reading it. She's reading the first chapter. Okay. And it's mesmerizing, it's captivating. Yeah. And it will make you go, oh man, I got to read this book. I got to get it. Ah, that's good. But it speaks about the ghetto and what it does, like I said too, it you know, I'll just say white people. I keep saying non-minorities and stuff like that, but white people, you know what I mean? Yeah. It gives them a chance to look into the ghetto and a lot of questions asked. So a lot of times, you know, in this culture right now, in this atmosphere, they're afraid to ask a lot of questions out of offending somebody. I get you. We can't just have a general conversation. Sensitive society. Yeah. Out of, you know, and a lot of white people, and even Spanish people, Japanese people, all kinds of, they're curious about the American ghetto. Okay, about the Black people in the ghetto, but they're afraid to ask because all they're seeing is people killing each other, stabbing each other, the dope fiends, the junkies, the pimps. So they think those are the only kind of people. So that curiosity is stifled. You know what I mean? They can't really be inquisitive about it because they're scared. There's a little bit of fear. So this also gives you that inside look inside the ghetto to let you know, hey, look, we're human also. And then, like I told you before, it's also a love story.
And you've come and changed the narrative. You know, it's not once in the ghetto, always in the ghetto. Now
Oh,
you
no. But
once in
there's
the
some
ghetto,
people like that though.
ghetto.
There's some people like that though. Now, we're not gonna say there ain't no people like that. Like I said, not all old people are wise. We got a lot of dumb ones, but guess what? They was dumb when they was young too.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So it's a whole, I think that's what happens. Like a lot of times, people try to put people in a box.
Yeah.
You're in this box. You're this. You're in this box. You're that in this box. Now look.
No.
Hey, let me get you right now, and I bet you ain't even thinking about these glasses now, are you?
There you go.
They had you all over here. You ain't worried about the glasses no more. Hey, I'll do it real quick for you. Now, see, look at that.
Someone is saying those are gangster glasses.
No, they can see. That's their narrative. See, that's what told them.
Interesting.
Hey, you know what? They would say that, but see, I'm going to show you something. I have a ring, right? You see my ring?
Yeah.
That's somebody that say that's ghetto ring, right? I'm going to put that ring real close. I don't know if you can see it. You see what that ring say?
God.
Love God.
Love God.
That's what my ring says.
Yeah.
You understand? But somebody that you got to get up close and personal to see that, to know me, to understand me. But besides, you look from a distance and be like, oh man, that guy got that big old glory ring on or something like that. That big glory ring is giving glory to God. You understand? But if you're looking from a distance and you're judging me, you ain't gonna get close to know me. Which is good, because if you're judging me, I don't need to know you.
I've seen these over and over again. And you meet with someone and someone says, that's a black guy. That's someone from Africa. That's someone. Now, this is a man from the ghetto. He's speaking something totally different, getting people out of the ghetto. But this is how you get them out of the ghetto. You don't take them and remove them from the ghetto. You change their perspective, your mind, their mind and the way they see things. And then if you can change their mind, you can influence their mind to think differently and see a different picture from what they've been seeing. Then they can get out of the ghetto.
Bam! Absolutely, you hit it.
Bam!
Right, there you go. You hit it right. You said, man, did you read my book?
I'm gonna read it. So everybody that is listening to this video, please go get the book. Ghetto Bastard is gonna give you some insight.
Ghetto Bastard by Russell Vann.
By Russell, not just any other ghetto bastard. No.
That's right, Russell Vann, right? And remember, ghettobastard.com. You can get all my information. I got a little more philosophy on there.
Yeah.
And or you can go to Amazon, like I said, and it's one of the Amazon's bestseller. Also, so that there too. So you can go there and get it.
So we can share those links on the video, and people can just click. People these days are lazy. They don't want to go on a search. They just want to click and go.
All information right there. Ghettobastard.com. Every place. It's all on there.
So once again, thank you very much, Russell Vann. We appreciate having you on our show. But as always, before you go, I'm always asking someone to share with us some little bit, how do you call it? The parting shot. Tell us something.
Some knowledge to live by?
No, something interesting.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to tell you something to live by.
Thinking once we've stopped watching this video.
Live, love, and laugh. Oh. Everybody wants to know what the meaning of life is. If you do those three things, all of that is going to fall into play. Live, love, and
laugh. Oh, that's interesting.
That's what life is all about. Because if you don't do those things, what is life all about? Is it worth living?
We're going to remember that always.
If you don't love, is it worth living? If you don't laugh, is it worth living?
You can always be sad all your life and not appreciate anything that is happening.
Only if you let life do it to you. But if you live, love, and laugh, listen, sometimes when you by yourself, especially like I said, love story, you got somebody to live, love, and laugh with, it's all the better. Like they say, two is always better than one.
And I always say, look up above and ask help from above to live your life the way you
Oh,
should.
I showed you my ring, didn't I say? Didn't it say
Yes,
love God?
love God. Thank you very much, Russell, Vann. We really appreciate you. And to all those who are watching, remember to subscribe to our channel, Book Place, or go to our website, Book Place Media. Please follow us and share this video with as many people as you can. And please don't forget to take Get a Bastard from Russell Vann. Thank
All
you very
right.
much.
I love it. I love it.
Bye.